Hi, I'm Shane. I wanted to share my story about a hearing disorder I have. This is for the benefit of other people who share in the same disorder or variations of it. Also, so some people can understand me better without me telling them in person. I can send them this video. Um, so life is getting very difficult for me at this time, going out in public, even at home. So I have a hypersensitivity to high pitched sounds. Again, high pitched sounds, not loudness necessarily. So babies, toddlers, sirens, and the worst of all, whistles, like a referee whistle. So almost anything along these lines, very harsh on me. If I heard a siren outside right now, or a baby in this room, or a toddler even in the next room, maybe if they squawked at all, I would have to be like that. So when I'm driving down the road, if the windows are down, especially, or in my wife's little convertible sport car, it gets very difficult. Here in Middle Tennessee, we've got loud trucks with their loud mufflers. We've got GT Mustangs. Oh, my favorite. Very loud. They're not necessarily high pitched so much, but the loud mufflers are very hard on my hearing. And we're not talking about I'm annoyed by it. We're talking about it hurts. And the way I can explain this best is imagine for the high pitched sounds, babies, whistles, sirens, imagine a referee blows a whistle directly into your ear and you never know when it's coming. So this is one reason I had to leave the institutional traditional church model where you go to a building and everybody's there, whoever miscellaneous people are there, and children are left in the sanctuary often, which is fine. I'm all for it. But for me, it became a factor that it essentially ran me out because of the pain in my ears. People think, you might think I don't like children. No, I love children. I just can't be around them much if they're squawking or crying or just almost talking. So the last institutional church I was part of, a small church, maybe 30, 40 people on a Sunday, um, it became very difficult. This was over a year ago, a little over a year ago. I left there. We do house church now. My wife and I, we have people gather at our house, and I don't have a policy that says no children allowed, but people here know that I have this issue, this disorder, and there's no cure for it, by the way. So what happened in this little church? We would be there, and the children in the sanctuary, just one or two is all it takes, just talking a little bit during the sermon, talking to their parents or something, and that high pitched voice, I have to do that a lot of the time. I'm not talking about screaming, I'm just talking about they're talking. So I went to the back. I started sitting in the back by the sound booth and putting on headphones to cover up the noise around me, and then plugging the headphones into the soundboard so I could hear the sermon. Now, before the sermon, I was in the band. I play music, and that reminds me, people always ask me, how can you have this and play music and play in bands? And so the music doesn't really bother me. It's not, again, it's not loud sounds. It's not loud music. Sometimes it is, like the mufflers. It's a high pitched sounds way up high, like a piano would get way up high. That's what we're talking about for you non-musicians. High pitched means very high, like a child's voice, a whistle, a siren. So um, very, very difficult. So I would sit in the back of the church plugged into the soundboard, and it was still not enough. I guess I didn't have officially noise canceling headphones, but even after the gathering was over, we would go out and try to talk to people in the foyer. And sure enough, somebody's egging on their children, chasing them for fun, or they're playing with each other and they're screaming. And the foyer is loud in most churches. There's tile flooring, but the very loud. And I just had to make a beeline for the door and get out. So there was any bit of getting to know anybody in my own church, because you don't, you walk into the sanctuary, you don't get to know people in the traditional church. In the house church, it's very different. We all have a somewhat of a relationship, know each other. We all know each other. We can build up, edify, encourage one another. Hebrews 10:24 through 25 is an example you could look at there. So the church thing got to be impossible. I couldn't do it anymore. Going to Walmart hurts. Going to Waffle House hurts. The clanking of the dishes, the hollering out of the orders, at Waffle House, if you're from the South or wherever, they holler out the order to the chef. It's very painful. So there's no cure for this. No cure for hyperacusis. There are some treatments they're trying to develop. And a lot of people, I know because I talk to other people with hyperacusis, a lot of people, their condition has become worse, which is almost unimaginable at this point. I'm almost to the point where I have to stay home to exist. There's a website called Hyperacusis Central, and the man who runs it, I believe, can't listen to anything anymore. I think he stays at home and has headphones on constantly. I've sent him a video of some songs I've done and so forth. He said I can't even listen to it, none whatsoever. Some people who get it even more extreme, they have taken their own lives. So there are extreme cases of hyperacusis where they can't bear life anymore. It's very painful. So if you can imagine you're sitting in church, it runs your anxiety up sky high because you never know when that referee is going to come behind you and blow a whistle directly in your ear. That's the equivalent of a child squawking. I call it squawking. It's a nice way of saying screaming or talking loud. It doesn't even have to be loud. The more quiet the building is, like in a church or a library, the louder the high-pitched sound is. So it's high-pitched sounds again. So with the high-pitched sounds, first of all, I have a problem. My hyperacusis might be worse than other people because I'm half deaf. I was born half deaf. My right ear and my other ear is not so great either. So I wear 2 hearing aids. There's the things there if you can see them. They hang, the old style. I used to have more in ear where you can't see them at all, but it's there. A little cable goes into the ear and projects the sound. So you know what my problem is with hearing? I don't hear highs very well. I don't hear the high frequencies. But when I do hear them, it's very loud. So that's a problem. It's a catch-22 almost for me where I need to hear the high pitches, but when they do come audibly, they're usually blaring like a whistle or a baby or a siren. If they're loud, it's difficult. So watching movies at home with my wife, we have to keep the volume very low because the movie makers love to cut to a new scene like it's new. It's a quiet scene, and then they cut to a new scene. Whistle blowing right there. Just somebody blowing a whistle at a ball game. That they love to cut to scenes like that, or a cut to a new scene with a baby screaming like, "Oh, thank you." So as you can tell, it's a little frustrating. So no, I'm not anywhere near suicide. I want to make that clear. I'm just making this video to tell others about the disorder. And I think 1 in 50,000 people has the same disorder. So it's affected pretty much every aspect of my life, my home life, my church life, my work life. I go to work. There's beepers and buzzers and things where I work, and it's getting difficult. So what can I do? Even if I were to not have to work anymore, if I could retire, staying home still hurts. So people often they try to tell me, you need to get those loop hearing loop, what are they called? Ear plugs. There's different ones that are made earplugs to cancel out noise, but still help you to hear. Like, I can't wear earplugs and my hearing aids in the same ear. So I need hearing aids to be able to hear, because I don't hear the high frequencies in people's voices very well. It just turns into mush to me. So need the hearing aids for clarity. But the problem is with that, as it's boosting the high, when a high-pitched sound does come, like a siren or whistle or baby, boom, it's blaring. And the way I can draw an example is, if you've seen any kind of action movie over the years, sometimes they'll have the tactical guys breaking in, coming into a house or a facility with their goggles, their night goggles. See, night vision goggles are designed to amplify every little bit of light that's around. And I was in the Army as a tanker, and we had these, I know. So it amplifies the light. and then somebody will shine a light in their eyes, right? So you've seen this in movies. They're coming in the night scene. They've got their night goggles on, and you want to throw them off. You shine a light right in their eyes, and I go, ah, right? So that's the same thing with my ears. My ears are constantly reaching, trying to get the high pitch, the high level, the high frequencies. But then when they come, it's like blaring loud. So I've probably said enough. There's a lot more technical things that I don't even bother with. There's hyperacusis, this, that, and the other. There's different variations of it. My sister has a form of it, which is, I think, a little more of the tinnitus or tinnitus. I've heard it said different ways. My mother has it. Um, to some degree, we thought she was just being picky or crazy. We were growing up, and she was always like, I can't stand people chomping their gum and kids outside screaming. It drives me nuts. I understand now. It's not just so much that it bothers you, it's that it hurts. It really hurts. So imagine you're out at a restaurant and you pick the quietest place you can. And sure enough, a family with 3 little babies and toddlers sits in the booth next to you, and they're squawking. And now I have to get up and leave. And it's not their fault. Babies are babies. And I mean, I appreciate it when people keep their young ones quiet in a nice restaurant, because it's even with, sometimes we go to a real nice restaurant and people let their babies squawk, and sometimes even egg them on. It's really great sometimes when they egg them on to scream in a restaurant. So then I have to kind of get up to leave usually, and that's what I'm up against. I think this video it's not so much for the technical side of hyperacusis. I wanted people to understand the disorder from the point of view from someone who suffers from it. So you can kind of look into my world now and see, maybe you've seen me around town or something wearing headphones, and that's the reason why. It's not for entertainment to listen to my favorite music. It's usually to block out the sound. So as far as I know, there's no treatment. I'm part of a group, like I said, Hyperacusis Central. I will post a link for that in the description of the video, and you can read more stories. I'll post a link directly to my story, which you've already heard now, but that'll get you started on the website. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this helps somebody, and that's my story. I'm Shane. Thank you again for watching.